escaping me, and it was just at the bottom of the bag, and I've used it one time because it's been gone this whole time, like since I've got the markers in December. So yeah, this is different, and I wanted to get that one out of the way, I guess. So I have been watching shows recently, and I used to watch a lot of shows like way back when. Like I was the person that watched The Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, Teen Wolf, Supernatural, like all of those shows. And since that time, I really haven't gotten into shows like that. But of course, I would watch a show here and there, you know, like Stranger Things, or I don't know, some random shows. But anyway, I recently watched Game of Thrones, and I know I'm like late to the game or whatever, but hot take maybe, but I think this show is overrated. Okay, this is coming from someone who did not read the books. My opinions are solely off the show. And, oh, also, I know I have, like a scratch on my nose. I did that. Anyway, the characters being killed off like they were, to me, it came across as very lazy. To me, it said, I don't want to deal with their plot anymore. Let's get rid of them. And I don't know if that was because, it went that way in the books, or, that was the show's version of doing that. But yeah, I really hated that. I really disliked some of the plot lines after, I don't know, like season 4. I don't know what season. But to put it into perspective, when I really didn't like the show, like, it began after Tywin Lannister died, and that is when, and Joffrey, and that's when the show kind of, started taking different directions. Up until that point, I wasn't really, like, drawn to my phone, but after that, some storylines, like, I just could not get into or watch, and that included, like, the number one storyline is that Sparrow line, the High Sparrow, whatever his name is. No. Of course, there are many other lines that happen that are bad, but that is my number one. No, I'm talking like you guys have seen this. If you plan to watch Game of Thrones, my bad if I've spoiled it, I will keep spoiling it, so that's kind of my warning. Like, I'm just talking. If you want to listen, great. If you're going to sleep or relaxing, I like that too. Let's do it. But yeah, another thing, and this is like a me problem, I think, but I thought Daenerys was gonna be very baddie-like, and she just was not. And I don't know if it's because of TikTok edits that I watched. Like, I was given the impression that she was, like, crazy aura, but I was just waiting for it, and waiting for it, and waiting for it, and it never came. So, that is actually very sad. And did you guys notice that every time a certain, like, problem or conflict arose, and we needed to see it happen, like a battle, it would just get cut off, for example. So there's a battle that's gonna happen, and it's like an important battle between the Lannisters and the Starks, like Robb Stark, and ever so conveniently, we're in Tyrion's point of view, who gets knocked out. He wakes up, the battle's ended. Have you noticed that many problems that we don't see that? There are many situations that we don't see. That was another thing that really bothered me. Battle scenes that we did see, they were good, they were filmed good, in my opinion. I just it just wasn't my cup of tea. So that's already two things I don't like. I don't know if this is very obvious, but I feel like it's really hard to find something I enjoy, and I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And I don't know, I feel like I'm very much a hater about things, and that's just what it is. I try not to be too much of a hater on camera, but if I don't like something and I'm talking about it, I'll express that I don't like it. Alright, so another show I started, aka I'm 2 episodes in, is Outlander, and it's about, I don't know, it's this girl who is like jumping through time by accident, and she's like in the Scottish area, and I started this movie or show because of Jamie Fraser is what I think his name is. I really have no reason for watching this show other than him, and I don't know, I really want something romantic, but 2 episodes in, I don't know, it really hasn't captured my attention, so I'm gonna give it one more episode and decide if I'm gonna continue or not. I also started a show called Banshee. I've read, oh my god, I keep saying that. I've watched 1 episode. It was fine. I don't have a lot of opinions about it yet, but yeah, that's another show I'm gonna have to decide if I want to keep watching. I'm currently reading Kingdom of Ash, and I'm 50% in. I was gonna talk about it in depth, but I don't think I'm going to after all. I'm enjoying it. I'm scared for what's to come. By the time this video is out, I will have finished it by then. I just know a billion people are gonna die, and I really am not looking forward to it. I dreaded this. I dreaded starting this book so bad. I just kept pushing it back and reading something else. And I didn't dread it because I knew that it was gonna be like, I was like worried it was gonna be like bad, but I really enjoy the series. Like, I'm like 100% invested in the series, and it's really, really hard for me to be excited about a series and like have this extreme want to read it. But like Akatar and Throne of Glass, they both have done that for me, and like this is the end, so it's like I don't think I'm going to find another book or series that does this for me. Like, I do have it in my head that I'm about to be finished reading the best of the best. I know there's Crescent City, but I haven't heard a lot of good things about that. I have seen people be like, you need to read Crescent City to read the next Akatar book, and it's just like, I really didn't want to read that because I heard it was terrible, and I believe it. If you have that many people complaining about how bad a book is, it's probably bad. I started this series, like, I've been reading 1 book per month, so if there's like, I don't even know how many books there are, 8, 7, 6, it's taken me that long to finish, like from start to finish, because I knew I was gonna want to like make it last as long as I could. I'm really not a person who like needs to read the series all in one go. I think that is a great way to read. That's just, I don't know. I don't find myself doing that, especially because I read all my books on Libby, so I can't really decide if I'm gonna read a series all in one go, if that makes sense. But with Throne of Glass, I could decide that. When I started books, or like, I thought my problem was because I wasn't reading like the text at the same time that I'm listening to the books. So I started doing that, and I think that was my fix. This month is going much better now. Thank God, because yeah. So dealing with book stuff still. I would like to do more book type videos, but I feel like if I was to do that, it like excludes so many people from watching that book. I mean, movie. I mean, oh my god, video. Because, you know, a lot of you are here for the ASMR. As, you know, that's my channel. But if I do like book ASMR, that's like not inclusive. But I do want to do it like, I don't know. I've been posting book type videos on a Wednesday sometimes. That's when it would occur. But I don't know. I find very little time to record, which makes it even harder to incorporate more videos or whatever, if you get what I'm trying to say. Because it's very loud in my house most of the time, like someone's screaming, or the dogs are being loud. We have 3 dogs in my house. Recording is kind of hard, but anyway, like, do you hear barking? Like, that's not my dogs. That's like 2 blocks down. Another thing I was going to talk about was MMA. I know all this is pretty different people this would apply to, but it's just something to talk about. Recently, there was a fight night between Leon Edwards and Sean Brady, and ever since I have started watching, like, with Leon Edwards fighting, he is so bad. My friend tells me he's good, but every time I see him, he looks terrible. And this most recent fight that he was in, I just knew he was gonna lose, and he did lose, and it wasn't even close. And I really don't want to see him fighting anymore, because he's boring. There are a lot of people in the UFC who are boring. Another one of those people include Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's fight did go differently this time around, but generally I don't like that guy. Not that guy, but watching that guy. Of course, I don't really know a lot of these guys personally. Like, I just watch them fight and that's it. Like, I don't see them on social media or anything. But yeah, Kevin Holland's another person I try to avoid watching, but my friend likes him, so I watch him. Before that fight night, the UFC event, like the past UFC event, I don't know what number it was, Alex Pereira and Ankalaev were fighting.